الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. Dear respected brothers and sisters, as announced inshallah ta'ala, we will be speaking about the sincerity that Allah Azza wa Jal He has commanded us with, and how the righteous from the three golden generations, the companions, the tabi'een, the tabi'ut tabi'een, they used to have sincerity in their ibadat, and likewise the way they used to go about hiding their actions as much as possible so that they get the maximum reward. Because brothers and sisters, it's very, very important. And it would be really, really sad if we spent so much of our time and wealth in trying to implement certain ibadat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He handpicks us out from so many thousands of people. Because as you are aware, subhanAllah, there are so many people who are misguided. So many people who might not necessarily pray. So many people who might not necessarily fast. So many people who might not necessarily have been given the success to go and seek knowledge. And after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He handpicked you out from millions and millions of Muslims, it all goes to waste. Why? Because we haven't brought the correct intention. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, time and time again, He spoke about actions and then the intention. Like Allah Azza wa Jalla, He tells us in Surah An-Nisa, لا خير في كثير من نجواهم إلا من أمر بصدقة أو معروف أو إصلاح بين الناس ومن يفعل ذلك ابتغاء مرضات الله فسوف نؤتيه أجرا عظيما. There is no good in any of the secrets that the people they share amongst themselves, the speeches that transfers from place to place, except the one who أمر بصدقة. He goes and he commands the people of sadaqah, or ma'ruf, or he tells them to do something good, or إصلاح بين الناس, or the one who goes out and he tries to solve and rectify between the people. Then Allah says, وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ. Whoever does all of this in order to seek the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jalla, this person will be given a great reward. There is sometimes we might want to solve the problems amongst the people because we have a hidden agenda. Maybe it is because we want to end up gaining a very lofty position with regards to this individual, especially if it's somebody who is in a very high status amongst the people. We do stuff for him. Let's just say, for example, he has a problem. In order for us to get close to him, what do? We might try our utmost best in order to do things that he likes. Or it might be some problems that he's going through, we go out our way in order to rectify that problem. Or whatever it might be. But there is a hidden agenda behind it. You are not necessarily doing this for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He also tells us about the husband and the wife, just to show you now how the intention plays a very important role. وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا فَابْعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا إِنْ يُرِيدَ إِصْلَاحًا يُوَفِّقِ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا. If you feel there is a problem now between the husband and the wife, then bring about someone from her side and someone from his side. If they desire, إِن يُرِيدَ إِصْلَاحًا يُوَفِّقِ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا. If they have the intention now to rectify between their affairs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will what? Will give them both success. Can you see now again the type of intention a person has, the positive impact and the negative impact it could have? Because of that small movement that takes place in a person's heart. Also the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told us, من أخذ أموال الناس يريد أداءها أدى الله عنه ومن أخذ أموال الناس يريد إتلافها أتلفه الله. All of these are examples to show you the positivity and the negativity and the difference the intention can make. Whoever whoever takes the money of the people, let's just say for example he wants to borrow money, but with the intention of repaying it back, this intention of wanting to repay it back, أَدَّى اللَّهُ عَنْهُ, Allah Azza wa Jalla will help him pay that debt back. وَمَنْ أَخَذَ أَمْوَالَ النَّاسِ يُرِيدُ إِتْلَافَهَا أَتْلَفَهُ اللَّهُ. Whoever takes the money of the people, borrows the money of the people, but he has the intention of doing them over, what will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do to him? He will end up doing him over. That small movement that takes place in a person's heart. You know, brothers and sisters, this heart, this piece of flesh in between our ribs, it deserves more for us to give our time to it than the bodies that we have. You know the bodies that we have? Ask yourself, how many hours do we spend in the gym? There's nothing wrong with going to the gym. In trying to perfect the outer appearance. In trying to perfect the outer appearance. Might spend 8 hours, 9 hours. MashaAllah, alayhi becomes so strong, he's able to pick up maybe 120 kilos from both sides. To such an extent he is able to even bend the bar because he's so strong. Allahumma barik. Hours we spend in the gym. And then we have our sisters who ends up spending maybe hours in front of the mirror, making sure that the detail on her face is absolutely perfect. Makeup, eyelashes, the hair as well, just so what she looks perfectly in front of others. And again, I'm not necessarily saying you don't look good or there's something wrong with looking good in front of the opposite, sorry, not the opposite gender, because the sister shouldn't be doing that. But it may be trying to work out, you know, trying to look good, there's nothing wrong with it. But if a person is giving all his time to that, but then he doesn't give any concern to his heart, it does end up becoming a problem. Why? The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told us, أَلَا وَإِنَّ فِي الْجَسَدِ مُضْغَةً إِذَا صَلَحَتْ صَلَحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ وَإِذَا فَسَدَتْ فَسَدَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ أَلَا وَهِيَ الْقَلْبُ. There's a piece of flesh in a person's heart, in a person in between his ribs. If that becomes rectified, everything else becomes rectified. Your actions become rectified because of your heart being rectified. And if that becomes corrupted, that piece of flesh becomes corrupted, everything else becomes corrupted as well. This is the heart. Even the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told us, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَى صُوَرِكُمْ وَلَا إِلَى أَجْسَادِكُمْ وَلَكِنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَى قُلُوبِكُمْ وَإِلَى أَعْمَالِكُمْ. Allah Azza wa Jalla, he doesn't look at the way a person looks, the way his body looks like, or his image, or the form that Allah Azza wa Jalla has created you in. That doesn't concern Allah Azza wa Jalla. But that which concerns Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is two things. Your heart and also the actions that a person does. The actions that a person does with his limbs and also his heart. No matter how lovely and great you look, you come on Yawm al-Qiyamah and your heart is corrupted. A black dot after a black dot after a black dot ended up covering your heart. كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Because of the actions you used to do. This is what leads to a person becoming totally corrupted. So don't you think we should spend 4 hours with our heart instead of spending so much time in the gym, so much time in trying to perfect our outer appearance? Just maybe a fraction of that. It is foremost, it deserves more that we spend time in trying to work with our hearts. And this is why I chose this topic today. Because maybe due to our hearts we might end up destroying our Ramadan. Why are we fasting? Why are we praying? Why are we here today? Are we here today because Daddy, he forced us, even though we want to be watching the Champions League final? You might end up wasting your possible reward of getting out of this majlis. Because it does play a role, depending on a person's intention. Or is it we are fasting because we want to gain good health? Or we want to lose weight? Imagine a person who fasts for 30 days or he prays for 30 days and he's only doing that because he wants to lose weight. Or maybe he's going to Taraweeh because daddy forced me, or maybe because all my friends are going and that's why I'm going to go as well. There is a fabricated narration that says, Sumu tasahhu. Fast and you will gain good health. But the narration is fabricated. It's not from the objectives of fasting. Alaykum salam. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? So it plays a very important role. Also, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us about the person who is placed in the grave. He told us, إن العبد إذا وضع في قبره وتولى عنه أصحابه وإنه ليسمع قرع نعالهم فيأتيه ملكان فيقعدانه فيقولان له ما كنت تقول في هذا الرجل. When a person is placed in his grave, two angels come to him. This is after everybody has left. That which he hears is the movement, the cluttering of the footsteps of the people going back after they've left him. That's all he hears. Two angels come to him. They sit him down. فيقولان, they say to him, ما كنت تقول في هذا الرجل. What did you used to say about the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He responds back and he says, كنت أقول ما يقوله الناس. He responds and says, I only used to say what the people used to say. This is the statement that's very important now, that we look up on and we stand over. I used to say this because everybody else used to say it. I only recognize the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam because everybody else was doing it. Imagine we come on Yawm al-Qiyamah and we say, I only fasted because everybody else fasted. I only prayed because all my friends went to pray, and this is why I went to pray Taraweeh as well. The intention plays a very big role. This is why, subhanallah, that hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ أي لا يقبل أي عمل إلا بنية. No action is accepted from a person except with the correct intention. And it just about goes in every chapter of fiqh, that hadith. Some scholars, they call it thuluthu al-Islam, a third of Islam. Even Sufyan al-Thawri, the great tabi'i, what did he say? ما عالجت شيئا أشد علي من نيتي لأنها تتغلب علي. I haven't tried to work on anything more than trying to what? Rectify my intention. Why? Because it keeps flipping from side to side. Also, Tariq ibn Yunus alayhi rahmatullah, he mentioned something very, very powerful. He said, رُبَّمَا أُحَدِّثُ بِحَدِيثٍ وَعِنْدِ نِيَّةٍ. Perhaps I might narrate a hadith and I have an intention. ثُمَّ آتِي إلى بعض الحديث فيتغير نيتي فحديث واحد يحتاج إلى نيات. He says, I might narrate a hadith and I have a particular intention. And then I reach another part of that same hadith. And then my intention begins to change. And then my intention begins to change. So he says, maybe just one hadith, it requires multiple what? Intentions. We know the long hadith of Jibreel, right? A lot of you youngsters may have memorized. The hadith Jibreel, that's quite long. So this great Shaykh is saying, at the beginning of the hadith, I have what? An intention. I have a good intention. Because I want to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then maybe I reach the third or fourth line. My intention begins to change. It could be because now more people have entered into the sitting, and while he's narrating the hadith, he's trying to impress them. Shaitan has different ways of entering into an individual. So just one hadith that he's narrating, he needs to keep fighting and wrestling with himself to remain sincere. To remain sincere. And the examples of this are many. And it's something, wallahi, brothers and sisters, that is absolutely fundamental in whatever ibadah that we do. But like I said at the beginning, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen us from millions and millions of people. To be here today, let's just say for example in the masjid, and on top of that to be able to fast. I know many people, they're not fasting because they've abandoned this ibadah. But then, because of the wrong intention, we get absolutely sifr, we get zero. This is why, brothers and sisters, inshallah ta'ala, I want to quote quite a bit of the people of the past. If we want to be wonderful, great Muslims, instead of looking at the creation that tomorrow might become misguided, we should try and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with how the 3 golden generations, they worshipped Allah Azza wa Jalla. Because we hear Quran and Sunnah all the time, right? Everybody claims they follow the Quran and the Sunnah. But what makes the one who is following the Quran and the Sunnah distinct from the one who just makes claims is following the path of the 3 golden generations. The Sahaba, the Tabi'een, the Tabi'een. They were the best people to walk on the face of this earth. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told us, إِنَّ خَيْرَكُمْ قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. The best of the generations were what? My generation, the companions. The Messenger was saying this. Those who came after them were who? The Tabi'een. And then those who came after them, Tabi'een. So when we worship Allah Azza wa Jal and we try to follow the Quran and the Sunnah, it has to be upon the understanding of these 3 golden generations. And this is what the word Salaf means. Salaf means those who've gone past, who've gone by, who have, back in the time of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It has to be upon their understanding. Not my understanding, not my daddy's understanding, not my granddad, not my teacher, upon their understanding. Because they were praised by the best of the creation. First point I want to speak about is حرصهم على استصحاب النية في كل شيء. How they used to try so hard in renewing their niyyah, their intention at all times. So Ibrahim al-Nakha'i, the great tabi'i, met the companions. He said, لم يكن عبد الرحمن بن يزيد, who was another great tabi'i, يعمل شيئا إلا بنية. He never used to do any action except with the correct intention. With trying to what? Make present his intention. إن كان يشرب الماء بنية. Even when he used to drink water, he would try to do this with a good intention. We know that drinking water and eating is something that is just permissible. It's mubah. من المباحات. It is what something that is mubah, which means permissible. Okay? But he would now, at the time of drinking something that wouldn't even cross our minds, at this time, he would try to make the intention of maybe using this to strengthen himself with the ibadat, and he gets rewarded for it. He gets rewarded for it. Anything that is perfectly permissible, but a person now, he does it in order to help him with his ibadat, he gets rewarded for it. Likewise, sleeping. If you now tell yourself before you go to sleep, I am now sleeping because I want to strengthen myself with the ibadat. Because maybe if I don't sleep well, my dhuhr prayer, my fajr prayer is going to be what? Very, very weak. Something that doesn't even cross our minds, we get rewarded for it. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in hadith, إِنَّكَ لَن تُنْفِقَ نَفَقَةً تَبْتَغِي بِهَا وَجْهَ اللَّهِ إِلَّا أُجِرْتَ عَلَيْهَا حَتَّى اللُّقْمَةَ الَّتِي تَجْعَلُ بِفَمِ امْرَأَتِكَ. Most people, when they look after their families, he does it because this is just a core. It's just something that he has to do. It's part of life. What if you were to now maybe buy the food from Iceland, or when you go to Asda, or you go to a local grocery shop, with the intention of trying to seek the face of Allah Azza wa Jalla. As it came in hadith. The Messenger said there's not a time where you spend, except you do this in order what? To seek the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Even the fruit parcel that you place in the mouth of your wife. What's the difference now between this and the one who just does it? This person now has brought his intention because he wants to seek the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So this now great tabi, Ibrahim al-Nakha'i, he speaks about Abdurrahman ibn Yazid. Every time he tried to do something, he would what? Try to make an intention in order to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jalla with it. وقال زبيد بن اليامي رحمه الله تعالى, he said, إنوي في كل شيء تريده الخير. Make an intention with every good deed or good action that you want to do. حتى خروجك إلى الكناسة. Even when you go outside in order to clean your garden مثلا, or you want to remove the dirt outside. Why? Make the intention now of trying to remove the obstacles and the stuff that could be a harm to a person with the intention of getting closer to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Sometimes the guy just comes and just kicks it. Does he get rewarded for it? He sees, let's just say for example, banana skin. Or he sees a broken bottle in front of him. He just removes it. Make the intention now what? To get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by removing harm away from that road. And maybe because you can save a life through it. Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, he one time said to his son, يا بني إنوي الخير فإنك لا تزال بخير ما نويت الخير. He said to him, O son, make intention of doing good. You will remain upon goodness as long as you intend to do good things. I'm going to inshallah ta'ala now move on to the type of sincerity they used to have at the time of what? Paying sadaqah, paying charity. Ali ibn al-Hussein, Zayn al-Abidin, who was the grandson of who? Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. You know what he used to do, brothers and sisters, in order to try and hide his good deeds as much as possible? كان علي بن الحسين زين العابدين إذا كان الليل يحمل الصدقات والخرب من الطعام على ظهره. At night time, the grandson of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who is the Khalifa of the Muslims, there was 4 khulafa, right? 4 people who were the greatest after the Message sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali. This is his grandson we're speaking about. إذا كان الليل يحمل الصدقات والجرب. He used to carry on his back the sadaqat, the charities, in the sacks. And that which was found inside his sacks was ta'am, were foods. ويوصل ذلك إلى بيوت الأرامل والفقراء في المدينة. He would take this sack that has food inside it, and he would go to the aramil, والفقراء, the widows and those who are poor in al-Medina, ولا يعلمون من وضعها. And they wouldn't know who put this in front of their homes. This is in the middle of the night. The grandson of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he would go with this sack filled with food at night. So nobody sees him in the middle of the night. And he would start putting food in front of people's homes. وكان يقول إن الصدقة في سواد الليل تطفئ غضب الرب. أخرج ابن عساكر. He would say that paying sadaqah in the middle of the night, it extinguishes the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَكَانَ لَا يَسْتَعِينُ بِخَادِمٍ وَلَا غَيْرٍ. And he never used to seek the help of a slave or somebody to go and help him with this action that he was trying to fulfill. لِأَلَّا يَطَّلِعَ عَلَيْهِ أَحَدٍ. Just so nobody knows that it was him who was going around and paying this charity at the doorstep of all these people. He wanted to stay sincere. He wanted to be alone in this so nobody finds out. And he can, be really sincere in this action. وَبَقِيَ عَلَى ذَلِكَ مُدَّةً. And he remained doing this for a period. وَمَا كَانَ هَؤُلَاءِ الْفُقَرَاءُ وَالْأَرَامِلَ يَعْلَمُونَ كَيْفَ يَأْتِيهِمْ هَذَا الطَّعَامُ وَتِلْكَ النَّفَقَاتِ. And all of these poor people that he used to go and drop this food off, and these widows, never used to know who used to come and drop this off. فَلَمَّا مَاتَ. And when he died, وَجَدُوا فِي ظَهْرِهِ آثَارًا مِنْ سَوَادٍ فَعَلِمُوا أَنَّ ذَلِكَ بِسَبَبِ مَا كَانَ يَحْمِلُ عَلَى ظَهْرِهِ مِنَ الطَّعَامِ إِلَى هَؤُلَاءِ. Subhanallah. And when he passed away, they saw a very dark mark on his back. So the people, they realized that it was him that used to go to all these homes of the poor and these widows, because they ended up seeing this dark mark on his back, which was the effects of what? Carrying a big sack filled with food. فَمَنْ قَطَعَتْ صَدَقَةُ السِّرِّ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ فِي ذَلِكَ الْوَقْتِ حَتَّى مَاتَ رَحِمَهُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. And this only remained until he died in Medina, that which took place. Can you not see, brothers and sisters, this is such a beautiful example of this great Tabi'i, the grandson of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, of how they used to go out their way. They never used to get £10 and then at the time when he gets to the door, he used to try and hide as much as possible. As it came in the hadith, سَبْعَةٌ يُظِلُّهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي ظِلِّهِ يَوْمَ لَا ظِلَّ إِلَّا ظِلَّهُ. There's going to be 7 people that will be under the shade of Allah Azza wa Jalla, the day when there's no shade except His. And one of them is who? رَجُلٌ تَصَدَّقَ بِيَمِينِهِ لَا يَعْلَمُ شِمَالُهُ حَتَّى لَا تَعْلَمُ شِمَالُهُ. A man who paid charity with his right hand and the left hand doesn't know. He tried to hide as much as possible. And they would keep quiet from it. You know, brothers and sisters, when we do a righteous deed, one, he needs to be patient before doing the ibadah, at the time of doing the ibadah, and also what? After doing the ibadah. Just so he gets the maximum reward. Because at the beginning, you have to be patient in trying to do what? Trying to learn how to fulfill the ibadah in the best possible way. And learning takes a lot out of you. It's not something that just happens overnight. You have to strive. And then at the time of the ibadah, you have to remain sincere. When doing the ibadah, sometimes maybe daddy walks in, or maybe the wife walks in, or maybe a good friend of yours walks in, and the person, what does he try to do? He tries to maybe show off to them. At the time he perfects his ibadah upon this individual walking in, and he ends up destroying his action. And then after the ibadah, again he has to be very patient. What does he have to be patient from? In professing that action that he done on his tongue by telling others. Doesn't it happen sometimes? You know, at the earliest opportunity, somebody asks us about our good deeds and characteristics, we hasten to maybe talking about our good actions. At the earliest, adna fursa. حرصهم على كتمان صلاة الليل والعبادة. How they used to try so hard in hiding their good deeds of praying in the night. فقد كان الواحد منهم يدخل في فراش زوجته ثم يخادعها كما تخادع المرأة صبيها فينسل لصلاة الليل إذا نامت دون أن تشعر به. So before the Shaykh now he goes on to explain and mention actions of the people of the past from the 3 golden generations, the people of the Tabi'een and the Tabi'een. He mentions that the righteous, what they used to do is You know how sometimes the mother, she takes the baby into the room. She remains with the baby till sometimes the kid sees that the mom has gone to sleep as well. And when the mom has gone to sleep, he goes to sleep as well. And this is exactly what they used to do with their wives. He would go with her to the bedroom, go onto the same firash. When the wife has gone to sleep, just so she doesn't see what he's doing, yukhadi'ah, and he leaves as well. Most wives, they like the husband to remain till she goes to sleep. You know, she wants him to be there. Once the wife goes to sleep, he would leave. And she doesn't even realize that he's gone. He still thinks that maybe he's still hugging her and he's still with her. Just so even the closest of people don't find out that he prays in the night. To be able to stand in the night, brothers, is a fadila azima jiddan. That a lot of people, they don't get the tawfiq, the success to do. Even Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, making dua in the last part of the night is like the arrow that doesn't miss its target. It's a very difficult ibadah. And then he brings the action of Hassan ibn Abi Sinan. Hassan ibn Abi Sinan, he was a tabi'i. He was somebody who was a Nasrani, he was a Christian, and then later on embraced Islam. He one time said to his wife, كان يجيء فيدخل معي في فراشي. After his wife, she used to mention this about him. كان يجيء فيدخل معي في فراشي. He used to come and then he would sleep on the same bed. ثم يخادعني كما تخادع المرأة سبيها. He would maybe end up like cheating me the same way the mother, she cheats her what? Her child. The child wants his mom to stay. Most of you know, who've seen little kids, you'll see this. He cries, he cries, he cries, and then when she takes him to the room, he doesn't go to sleep until what? His mom remains there. His mom has to stay there. And then she'll say to him, oh, okay, I'll go to sleep as well. She lies down next to him, and then when he goes to sleep, she leaves. And this is exactly what she mentions about her husband, Hassan ibn Abi Sinan. A very, very righteous man. When she's gone to sleep, he would what? Get off. فإذا علم أني نمت سل نفسه فخرج ثم يقوم فيصلي. If he finds out that I've gone to sleep, he would leave. Ayyub as-Sakhtiyani alayhi rahmatullah, again from the Tabi'een. كان يقوم الليل كله. He used to spend his whole night standing up in prayer. فيخفي ذلك, he would hide it. فإذا كان عند الصبح رفع صوته كأنه قام تلك الساعة. And when he woke up in the morning, or when the morning started, he would yawn, as if he just woke up. Just so the people don't realize around him that he was standing up in prayer throughout the whole night. Just so he can hide his actions. ورأى رجاء بن حيوة رجلا في المجلس بعد الفجر يداعبه النعاس. Raja ibn Haywa, again from the Tabi'een, the most tremendous of them. He would see a man بعد الفجر, in a sitting, after Fajr, sitting in a circle of knowledge. And he could see that, tiredness was very apparent on him. Sometimes you feel like you want to knock off because you haven't slept much in the night. وَيُغَالِبُهُ النَّوْمُ فَقَالَ لَهُ انْتَبِهْ. So Raja ibn Haywa, he said to this man, be careful. لا يظن ظان أن ذا عن تسهل. He was saying to him, be careful. Don't allow, or you shouldn't allow somebody to think that you were spending the night in prayer or in doing ibadat. أي لا يتوهم أحد عليك أن هذا من طول السهر لصلاة الليل. One shouldn't think that he was doing this because he was spending the whole night praying to Allah Azza wa Jal. Maybe go wash your face. Remove the things that you have inside your eyes. Be energetic. Energize yourself. Just so people don't think about you that, okay, they see and your actions become apparent. وكان عبد الرحمن بن أبي ليلى, again from the most tremendous of the tabi'een, يصلي. He would pray in the night. فإذا دخل الداخل نام على فراشه. He would pray in the night. And if somebody entered into his home, before he had the chance to see what Abdurrahman ibn Abi Layla was doing, he would conclude his prayer and then he would rush to lying down on his bed. Just so that person doesn't see this good deed that he's doing. Another point I want to mention, inshallah ta'ala, is some examples of إخفاؤهم لتأثرهم وبكائهم. When sometimes they would be overtaken with the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that would cause them now to cry. They would try to hide this as much as possible. فعن الحسن البصري رحمه الله تعالى قال, Hasan al-Basri, again from the tabi'een, he said, إن كان الرجل ليجلس المجلس فتجيئه عبرته فيردها فإذا خشي أن تسبقه قام. There would be sometimes a man sitting in a sitting and the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would overtake him. And he would try his utmost best to maybe remove the khashya, khushu' that he was going through. Sometimes you feel like crying because of a hadith that you hear, of something that is very, very effective on a person's heart. And then, tears start coming down your face. But there's this time, this period where there is still a chance of, keeping the tears inside your eyes and holding it in. They would try to do that as much as possible. And if he felt like that he was going to be overtaken by buka, the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it would become apparent. Because sometimes when a person finds himself in a situation, he starts, making noises. Because it's overtaken him. He would try to stand up as much as possible and leave. This is a teacher that would do this. Sitting in front of the other people, maybe narrating a hadith, he's talking about something that really affects the heart. And just so the people don't end up saying that he's not been overtaken by the khushu' and the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, he would go and just leave. وعن أبي السليل, again he was a tabi'i, أنه كان يحدث أو يقرأ. Sometimes he would narrate a hadith or he would read. فيأتيه البكاء فيصرفه إلى الضحك. And upon reciting the Quran or narrating a hadith, tears would come to his eyes. He would try and change this into laughing. So again, the people don't end up saying that the fear of Allah Azza wa Jalla is overtaken him. وعن محمد بن واسع الأزدي عليه رحمة الله. He was from those who met Anas ibn Malik رضي الله تعالى عنه, the great companion. قال لقد أدركت رجالا, I met men, كان الرجل يكون رأسه ورأس امرأتي على وساد واحد. He would say that this individual that I met and his wife, both their heads would be lying down on the same bed. قد بل ما تحت خده من دموعه لا تشعر به امرأته. And sometimes because of the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, that which would overtake him is the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, and it would cause him to cry so much. His cheeks would become so filled with tears. And his wife wouldn't even realize, because he would try to hold this in. He would try to, keep out any types of noises that would cause the crying, the tears coming down on his face. And subhanAllah, brothers, just try to imagine this. How close is his face, his head, to his wife's head as well, upon lying down? It's very, very close. When we start crying, that comes out. If he was to do that, she would hear it. But at the same time, he would hold it in so much. And then he also said, Wallahi laqad adraktu rijalan. I ended up meeting men. كان أحدهم يقوم في الصف فتسيل دموعه على خده لا يشعر إلى جنبه. لا يشعر الذي إلى جنبه. I met men, sometimes they would pray, and maybe the prayer would cause him now to have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He would start crying. The one right next to him wouldn't see that he's going through this. وهكذا بكر بن أبي أيوب السختياني يروي عن أبيه. The son of the great tabi'i Abi Ayyub السختياني عليه رحمة الله, he narrates from his dad أنه كان إذا رق ودمعت عيناه. He said that when his father's heart became soft and he started shedding tears, حك أنفه, he would start scratching his nose and he would say ما أشد الزكام. Sometimes when you have a cold, right? He would scratch his nose, and after, he's crying, this individual is going through a lot of khushu', a lot of fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. He would scratch his nose and he would say, how severe is the cold? Again, so the people don't see this individual has been taken over by fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. اجتهادهم في إخفاء الصيام. How they used to strive so hard in even trying to hide their fasting. عن عدي بن أبي عدي قال صام داود ابن أبي هند. Dawood ibn Abi Hind, brothers and sisters, was somebody again who met Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He met him, he saw him. He said, صام داود ابن أبي هند 40 سنة. He fasted for 40 years. I'm not talking about Ramadan, we're talking about supererogatory, voluntary fastings. لا يعلم به أهله. His own family members, they didn't know about this. وكان خرازا يحمل معه غداءه من عندهم فيتصدق به في الطريق ويرجع عشيا فيفطر معهم. He was a worker. Every time his family, they made food for him at the time of Dhuhr, they made lunch for him, he would take it فيتصدق به في الطريق. He would give it in charity on his way to work. ويرجع عشيا فيفطر معهم. And then he would come back in the evening, he would have asha with them. He would hide his voluntary fast from even his wife. She wouldn't know about it. She cooks him food, just like our families, they cook food for us. You could easily say to them, oh, I'm fasting today. But just so he can hide his action as much as possible, he would take the food, on his way to work, he would give it to somebody that is poor, and then he would come back home, he would have evening supper with them. And nobody knows about it. For 40 years, brothers and sisters. The same could be said about Amr ibn Qais al-Mulai. He fasted for 20 سنة, for 20 years. ما يعلم به أهله. His own family members never knew about it. يأخذ غداءه ويغدو إلى الحانوت فيتصدق بغدائه ويصوم أهله لا يدرون. Similar to the story that I just mentioned. On his way to work, he would give as charity. And his family don't even know about it. وقال ابن رجب ولما كان الصيام سرا بين العبد وبين ربه اجتهد المخلصون في إخفائه بكل طريق حتى لا يطلع عليه أحد. He says, when the siyam was a type of secretive ibadah that is between a person and his Lord, اجتهد المخلصون. Those who were sincere, they strived really hard in trying to hide it in every way possible. حتى لا يطلع عليه, just so the people don't find out. You know, subhanAllah, brothers and sisters, one of the examples that the scholars they bring of one thinking that he's being sincere, but at the same time the reality of the matter is not. In their books of ikhlas, and that which is amongst the lines of it, sometimes a person he becomes known to doing a good deed. He becomes known to doing a good deed, being somebody who fasts all the time. يصوم الدهر. And this spreads amongst the people. This spreads amongst the people. That this individual he always fasts. There might be a day where he doesn't fast. There might be a day where he doesn't fast. And he's hungry, he wants to eat. And there's people around him. What does he do? He ends up hiding the fact that he wants to eat. Was that example clear? I'll repeat it again. We have a person who becomes known amongst the people that he fasts all the time. He fasts all the time. And this spreads amongst the people, and there's a big hype about it. People discuss it in their sittings. Or you know, so and so, he always fasts. There might be a day where he doesn't feel like fasting. And we still know these rumors, they go on about him, right? This nice rumor gets spread about him. Some people, they come to his home. They visit him. On this day, you find that this individual, he's not fasting. He doesn't want the people to know that today he's broken his fast. So he tries to hide the fact that he isn't fasting on this day. This is something that is very, very minute. And unfortunately, this individual now, he's doing something to do what? To please the people. When the reality of the matter, he's just trying to look after his reputation. Or sometimes an individual, he becomes known to read all the time. He always picks up a book. He's always reading Quran. He's always seen like that. And this is what has been spread amongst the people. People, they enter into his home. He puts the book down. He puts the book down. Just so this individual doesn't go later on and tell the people, yeah, I visited him, but he wasn't reading the Quran. And the good reputation that he has, it becomes affected. Again, هل أنت تركت هذا لله? Did you really do this for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal by picking up the book upon this individual entering? I'll repeat that again. This individual is known to always pick up a book and read, whether it might be Quran or whatever it might be. And this has spread amongst the people. There is a day where he's not reading Quran. Somebody walks in, he picks up the Quran. Somebody walks in, he picks up the Quran. He only does this, why? Just so the people don't end up finding out that on this day, he wasn't reading the Quran. Or he wasn't fasting. And so on and so on with the rest of the ibadat. These are, wallahi, brothers and sisters, scholars of the past who tried every single way to cut off any way where the shaitan might have an effect on the sincerity. And like I said at the beginning of the lecture, brothers and sisters, these are the type of people that we need to try and be like. The creation today, you find, he's not immune to becoming trialed and tribulated in his religion. من كان مستنا فليستنى بمن قد مات, as Abdullah ibn Mas'ud he mentioned. فإن الحي لا يؤمن عليه فتنة. If you want to follow somebody and be like him, try and be like those who have passed away. Why? Because the person that's living, he is not safe from any fitna hitting his heart. And it's the 3 golden generations that we need to try and be like upon following the Quran and the Sunnah. Most people, like I said, they say we follow Quran and Sunnah, Quran and Sunnah. But are you following the Quran and the Sunnah upon the understanding of these 3 golden generations? This is where the distinction comes in. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our hearts. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he used to make this dua all the time. Allahumma ati nafsi taqwaha wa zakkiha anta khayru man zakkaha anta waliyuha wa mawlaha. Oh Allah, gift my heart with taqwa, with piety. Make my heart a heart that has taqwa. And purify it as well, for indeed you are the best of those who purify. Anta waliyuha wa mawlaha. You are its guardian, you are its protector. You know, a common question that people tend to ask after realizing that, okay, I really need to work on my heart. Maybe I'm doing corrupted things with the limbs that Allah Azza wa Jalla has given me because there's a problem with my heart. And again, this is the hadith that I mentioned. إذا صلح صلح الجسد وإذا فسد الجسد كله. If it becomes rectified, everything else becomes rectified. If it becomes corrupted, everything else becomes corrupted. It's the heart. How can I purify my soul is a common question that people tend to ask. How can I remove all the sicknesses that I have in my heart and its filth? A good way to maybe start is by making this dua, especially in this month. The month of change, the month where it makes it easier for a person to become a better person and to also remove some of the bad characteristics he may have. Allahumma ati nafsi taqwaha wa zakkiha anta khayru man zakkaha. Oh Allah, gift me with taqwa and purify my soul. You are the best of those who purify it. And through that, change can come about. We can become better people. Our outer actions become much greater as well. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.